And there we go. All right. Hi. Green lights. Yes, looks real good. Think so anyway. Wow. We don't do green light often here. You'd think we would have saved that more for Halloween with the reading of Hocus Pocus. Honestly, at this point, it's probably pretty fitting because we're about to do that too. Um, gosh, I'm still gathering my thoughts. So, let's go ahead and talk a little bit briefly about the dedication here for the Power Rangers. If you are like me and you were affected positively by the show The Power Rangers that started in the US back in the early 1990s. I was about 5, 6 years old when it first came out. Um, then you know that Jason David Frank did a lot. He was there from the nearly tip-top beginning. I think the show was going for about a year before he stepped in to fulfill his role as Tommy Oliver. And like most kids in my neighborhood here in Georgia, I ran around playing Power Rangers. I'll be quite honest with you, it's not that I didn't like Kimberly. I actually admired her bravery in the fact that she had a freaking phoenix and a pterodactyl as her companions. But pink just wasn't my color. I couldn't get into it, and the whole stereotypes back then of pink is girl and blue is boy. I didn't care about that. I remember I liked Yellow and I liked Trini, Lord rest her soul, the actor I mean, who we lost a long time ago as well. But I just didn't identify with her right away. Um, I didn't feel like I looked like her, and a lot of times I was not calm like her. Like, I appreciated her calmness and her seriousness and her bravery to face her fears. And then eventually, of course, she went from having a saber-toothed tiger to a griffin as a companion. And that was about the time I learned what a griffin was. So, guys, you know the rest. The rest is history as far as that goes. But getting back to it, um, when Tommy Oliver stepped onto the scene, Jason David Frank, I liked him. I liked the way he looked, and honestly, funny enough, he's the same age as my big brother, who I call my big brother Bear. And one way or another, when I was growing up, my brother did look out for me, even if it didn't always feel like it. But Jason David Frank was, I looked up to him like I did and do my big brother. So, 3 days when I heard the news ago, it hit me. And I had already had Borneo in my system, but I was still just shocked and hurt. And Shady knew this. He understood. He sat with me, and I got the tears out first couple of days. In good time. I also had a lot of work to do. But here we are now. At first, I wasn't expecting to even have Thanksgiving off. But I think this is a great way and a great time just to slow down and share with you guys his memory. So, if you want to share any thoughts about him, positive, please keep it positive as always, and let's support each other. If you're watching this as a VOD in the future, yeah, just thank you. Thank you for being here and checking it out. I'm going to move on real quick with something I brought up to share with you guys. I brought this on stream a few years ago when Rangers stopped. When I was able to attend one back in June. I think it was about 4 years ago. Anyway, I brought this along with me and I met some of the Power Rangers listening to the story. Jason David Frank was not there at that time, but I did see him years before at DragonCon. And I talked with him then, said my piece on how grateful I was, and I feel like I said everything I wanted to say. And I even got his signature And I won't forget that moment. And I remember looking at it and being like, I know that this, he's got to do this a bazillion times today. But I admire his strength and that mental pressure of not only being the best of the best in all of his certifications in the martial arts. And right, I've not memorized them. I'm not quite there yet, but I'll research it later and remind myself. I think he's like I want to say more than 10 black belts, highest rankings. Anyway, that, and he's got his own children. He's just seen and done a lot. And that was, I started following his page, and it's really cool to watch someone I admire. And I would watch his videos when I could and catch up when I couldn't watch it live or whatnot, like everybody else. Yeah, so this card reads, the Green Ranger, under Rita's control, the Green Ranger penetrates the command base, turns off Zorda's communication devices, and wreaks havoc on Alpha's circuitry. Will the combined Power Rangers powers of Goldar, the Green Ranger, and Rita be too much for the Power Rangers? And on these cards back in the 90s, there would be like a little fun fact, like a riddle kind of at the bottom. And it says, Power Rangers brain teaser. Font's a little wonky in this light. Why do raccoons dip their food in water? Well, a lot of us know that by now, but to clean it. And what was the answer? I don't remember where the answer is, but let's just pretend that was the answer. Anyway, number 45. Thank you, sir. Still have this bucket. This is actually originally Shady's bucket, but I made sure to pull it aside when I saw it was a thing. There was a couple times where he thought to throw it away or to, give it to a child, and I just wanted to hang on to it. So it serves its purpose now. And also in here is a picture of Blackner Comedy, who I met when he was giving his 20 Red Power Rangers tribute at Ranger Stop a few years ago. He even signed the back for me. Very cool. And he can be found at youtube.com /HyperforceRPG. So Hyperforce. I should drop him a line and say hello and see how he's doing. And I'm making a mental note of that right now in my brainy folds. All right. That's all I've got to share right now. Let's see, we're about 15 minutes in. Yeah, okay. And Jason David Frank, thank you. And wherever you are, I wholeheartedly believe and have faith that God has you for what it's worth. And thank you for your strength. Rest in peace. It's hard to see your heroes go. Doesn't get easier with time. You just know it's coming, And if you watch someone, sometimes you just know. I'm going to stop it there. Thank you. Next up on the agenda, after I take a quick break, we are going to continue the reading of Hocus Pocus 2, starting with chapters 3 and 4, which, if you'll recall, these chapters are not numbered. They have titles. And I'll see you back in just a moment. Ignore this ad. Go run and get something, stretch, take care of yourself, maybe wash your face a little, pet the dog or cat, or your favorite animal that's nearby, or your plushie. See you back in just a moment, Griff fans. Thank you. Alright, Griffin, thank you so much for your patience. Hope you're doing okay. Hope you're well. I honestly didn't go too far myself. Just did a little bit of transition for you and left a nice little positive message on that last on the last page of non-copyright sound notes. And ready to switch over. Hang tight, just double checking everything. I think so. Everything looks good. Yep. Oh, how about we get rid of these letters all over the place? Oh, hold on. Bippity boppity boop. Didn't work. Back up. Bah. Bah. Okay. Sure. Close enough. Alright, every time I raised my hand, I would miss the key and go away. Anyway, all souped up and ready. I also got a cat. Check it out. Right. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Ugh. Here's a Gracie. And she is enjoying her pets and just hanging out. Had a nice breakfast. She's doing pretty well these last couple of days. This last week she is back to her normal self for the most part, stronger and running around the house a little bit more. And yeah, hope you guys are enjoying that loving gaze towards you. I think she's looking right at the camera. Wink. Alright. Well, dang, now I just kind of want to hold her here. Alright. Yeah, I think she wants to be held here. Wow, what have I done? How about we start the book? And I'll just wait for her to... Oh, okay. You want... She's like, okay, I don't have 2 arms anymore. It's fine. I'll just come to your lap. Alright. Without further ado... Hocus Pocus 2. Again, chapter's not numbered. They're titled. And we're not going to go too terribly far today, just a couple chapters. The first chapter, though, entitled Serious Shade. Alright. And, let's see, we're going to make it a goal of, it looks like, 27 pages. Alright. Remember, that doesn't include pictures and star areas and stuff, but anyway. Serious Shade. If you'll recall last time, we were in the pizza diner with Travis, Isabella, and Poppy. Poppy being the main character, also the son of Max, from the first book story. And Travis, her best friend, and Isabella is who she's kind of got a crush on. It's Halloween Day, and they are about to leave the pizza diner after having a delicious lunch. And it seems that the school gossip, little Miss what's her face? Oh gosh, I want to forget her name so badly. Alright, Katie. Yeah, Katie. Tattletale Katie. Daughter of Jay, the bully from the first book. Who's the principal. And Poppy's family is finally gonna have a party? Let's see how well that goes. Alright. Serious Shade. By the time American Lit rolled around, I finally find someone who looks more over Halloween than I do. Too bad it's a painted pumpkin sitting on Miss Chin's desk. At this point, excuse me, I'm trying to get into character at the same time. At this point, I can feel Halloween night approaching. Half the class is anxious to get home and primp before the night of parties. And the other half is still licking sugar off their fingers from the caramel apple Spanish club sold at lunch. As for me, I'm just plain old anxious. The classroom is split in 2 sections that face each other, which is fine for discussion classes, but now means that every time I glance up, I see Katie and Jenny texting under their desks. I try not to look, which of course means I just look even more. I'm glad Isabella's next to me. Her presence is calming somehow. Miss Chin, Halloween or no Halloween, wears a black t-shirt and comfortable jeans, as always. She spends 10 minutes trying to encourage a class discussion that doesn't dissolve into giggles or blank stares. After her last attempt ends with dead air, she catches the eyes of everyone in class, one by one, the look on her face announcing her utter disappointment. "Well, I can see all of you are eager to get on with your nights," she announces after soundly shaming each of us, "including, perhaps, going to the Denizens' Halloween party. So, why don't we spend the rest of the hour catching up on the reading you clearly haven't done?" My classmates exchange looks like they've just won the lottery and can't quite believe it. But I feel a wave of guilt because she's only trying to do her job. Blame my empathy towards her on being a teacher's kid. Miss Chen sits back down and picks up a wooden wand. "And the next person who talks getting detention for 3 days, she adds, wrapping it on the edge of her desk. With a flourish, she flips the wand into the air and catches it, the tip pointing in Katie's direction like an accusation. When Katie gives her innocent eyes, Miss Chen gets the wand back on their desk with a snap and picks up a copy of the local newspaper. She's a big fan of reading the police blotter. Katie looks over at me, and I feel the full force of her wicked smile. She mouths, "Boo." I open my copy of the Scarlet Letter and flip through my notes and highlights to see whether I have anything intelligent to say in the end of unit essay. It's a welcome distraction. Katie snorts, covering her mouth, and hides her phone under her book. She's Snapchatting, no doubt, or in a group text with her squad about what a loser I am. Whatever. Miss Chen clears her throat loudly and gives Katie a look that would melt lesser students. "Sorry," says Katie. "Hester Prynne is just so funny." Her eyes dip back to her book and then swing up to meet mine. Her smirk grows more pronounced. I drag my teeth over the bottom lip and stare at my book until the words come back into sharp focus. I will not let Katie Taylor get to me. But if I were a Sanderson sister, oh, the curses I would cast. I wish Travis were here right now instead of in the honors gym. He'd do something to make me laugh, or at least make me feel less like a loser. Isabella touches my forearm and jerks back from the jolt of static that passes between us. "Whoa!" she whispers. "You must be mad." She laughs nervously at her own joke. I glance up at Miss Chen, who is still tucked behind her newspaper. Isabella is not one to risk detention, especially given all the extracurriculars she had to run and attend after school. So I know she must really be worried about me. "You okay?" she asks, feigning reading from her book. "I'm fine," I say tightly. I really want to tell her that I'm not fine, but I don't think Isabella knows what it feels like to be made fun of. She's basically gifted at everything she touches. Maybe that's why I should tell Travis. I'll never ask Isabella out, even if she's smart, beautiful, and nice, because it's too much pressure to be with someone who is just so good at life. I love my photography and I want to go to a good school and find a way to make money with my art. But that's not the same as what Isabella Richards likely wants. She's probably looking for someone perfect, like her. My phone lights up. It's a text from Isabella. "Don't worry, Katie won't talk," it says. "She'd rather hold the secret over you and make you squirm." This is true. Some bullies are like that. Heck, some brats are like that. You heard it here first, folks. Hashtag sorry not sorry. I chew my lip. This makes sense, and I hope she's right. I look over to Isabella and see her slide her cell phone under her book. I glance up and see Katie giggling to herself again, but this time she's being more discreet. She looks over, catches me staring, and winks. My phone lights up again, and I look down to see that Katie has posted on the Facebook event for my mom's party. I click to open it, ignoring the sinking feeling in the pit of my stomach. She's posted the page with the cryptic words, "Can't wait to see you all, you guys and ghouls. Hashtag real witches." She did hear me at Allegra's. I'm so dead. I stew in my thoughts until the bell rings. Miss Chen's sigh of relief is actually audible. "Everyone out," she says, tossing a thick gray braid over her back. "Happy Halloween. Don't drink the blood of babies." I stuff everything back into my bag and hurry out the door, but Katie manages to interrupt me. "See you tonight," she says sweetly. "Can't wait." Katie, Get over yourself, Isabella says over my shoulder. Katie swivels onto one heel. Excuse me? Don't mind if we do. Isabella takes my forearm to steer me through the door. Thankfully, we don't zap each other this time. Her hand is warm and firm as I pray to God she doesn't notice the goosebumps rippling over my skin. I've got to get to debate, she says to me while still looking straight ahead, once we're a good distance down the hall. But seriously, don't let her get to you. She's not worth it. Trust me. This girl knows what she's talking about. I like Isabella more and more. Let's keep it going. She squeezes my arm and dips back into the crowd. She's tall enough that I can see the glint of her gold circlet over the heads of other students. While it's blindingly obvious that Katie isn't worth stressing out about, something about Isabella is saying it makes me feel warm and tingly. You don't need external information, Mom would say. But one could argue that you don't need the cheese fries either. Both are pretty damn satisfying indulgence. Oh, she made me say a dirty word. Excuse me if any of my students are listening. I'm just quoting the book. #rated PG-13. Isabella disappears down the stairs and I lean against the wall of lockers, chiding myself for being such an idiot. I'd like to blame it on the emotional turmoil that comes with being a denizen on Halloween, but unfortunately, this isn't that unusual for me. Acting like a grade A weirdo around the girl that you have a giant, extraordinarily inconvenient, and almost certainly ill-fated crush on is very Poppy Denizen. I've never heard anyone talk about Isabella's love life. She's too busy getting ready to run the world to expend energy on dating, presumably. But then, I doubt anyone talks about my love life, except maybe a speculate about whether Travis and I are secretly a thing, which is so far from true. What is true is that the chance that Isabella likes me back is so remote, I'm far more likely to get struck by lightning twice. Pops! I look up to see Travis coming down the hall with a Jacob Bailey high baseball duffel bag slung over his shoulder. It's a relic from his one and only season on the team, before he gave up any lingering MLB dreams. My gaze slides from the duffel to his t-shirt, and the top half of which is soft and wet. What happened to you? I ask. He shakes his head. Donnie Thompson got carried away during the chem experiment, he explains. He said saline conductively was too boring, so he started flinging salt water everywhere. Dude needs some anger management lessons pronto. He arches his eyebrow, but what happened to you? Nothing, I say, suddenly self-conscious. Travis jerks his chin at my head. I reach for my hair, thinking I have a leaf stuck in an all period. But I realize the long strands of my hair are floating above my head like tentacles. I gasp, oh crap. I grab my head with both hands. That's some serious static, says Travis. Being the town freak must be a hair-raising experience, huh, Denizen? Wait, I'm sorry, excuse me. It's not him reading. And it's not Poppy either. Let me try that again. Freaking Katie, man. Being the town freak must be more hair-raising. I really don't like this girl, and these are not my favorite. Well, I like mocking these roles. Excuse me. Being the town freak must be a hair-raising experience, huh, Denizen? That's some serious volume. Katie quips as she breezes past with her soccer squad. Then she turns and calls out to me, walking backward. You're not a long-lost Anderson, are you? She feigns alarm, really hamming it up for her friends, who look on with a kind of wicked glee. Please spare me your hexes! Think of the International Witch Tribunal! Surely they don't have your head for misuse of magic! She grins at her own jokes and spins on her heels, flanked by her mean girl posse, and hurries off, the cleats tied to the backpacks bobbing in unison. Katie knows everything about my family's Sanderson secret. Confirmed. I try to shake off how upset I feel. What's going on with my hair? I ask Travis. You must be coming into your powers, he teases. But he leads me to the bathroom and pushes me through the swinging door. I run in, place my backpack down and splash water on my head. Desperately, I smooth down the wayward, dirty blonde strands, adding more and more water until they hang as limp and as still as they're meant to. Alone, I stare at myself in the mirror, looking like a golden retriever just out of a bath. My throat feels tight, but I try not to panic. After talking about the Sanderson sisters at lunch, some of my family's superstition seems to have wiggled its way into my brain. And I remind myself that magic isn't real, and there's no way I'd somehow wish myself into magical abilities just to spite my personal nemesis. I zapped Isabella with a static earlier. That must be the answer. Static from my sweatshirt, or from a change in the atmosphere or something. Static and paranoia because it's Halloween night and I'm nervous about my entire class meeting my parents. I take a deep breath and grip the edge of the sink, willing my thoughts to stop spinning. I look at my own face, sad and pale in the mirror once again, and try to see it objectively, as if I were looking at a tree or an old house, searching to find the perfect shot. Mascara streaks down my cheekbones like little spikes, stark against my skin. My wet hair clings to me, too, snaking across my cheeks and chin and down my neck, curling around my collarbone and jawline. My photo teacher, Miss Ahmed, said I needed to work on my range and stretch myself, and capturing this moment on film isn't something I'd normally ever do. I look scared and vulnerable and raw, and not social media ready, that's for sure. If Katie Taylor could see me now, but in the rawness of something sharp, like a fire beneath the skin that feels just out of my control. My eyes fall back into my backpack on the floor, and I lean down and root around for something smooth, solid body of the camera. Oh wait, I'm sorry, let me try that again. My eyes fall to my backpacks on the floor, and I lean down and root around for the smooth, solid body of the camera. I frame the shot in the mirror. Half-open bathroom stalls stand in formation behind me as I hide behind my camera. My face obscured in my reflection in the smudgy bathroom mirror. All I can see is my hair trailing water onto my sweatshirt, and a streak of mascara that's found its way into my chin. I adjust the f-stop and shutter speed to suit the incandescent bathroom lights. I take a deep breath, hold it, and take the photo. The crisp snap of the shutter satisfying as the tiled room. I'll call this shot Portrait of the Artist as a Drowned Rat. When I reemerge from the bathroom, Travis points from my hair to a shirt. Look, he says, we match. I know he's trying to make me feel better, so I give him a weak smile. Principal Taylor comes around the corner, probably on patrol to clear the halls. He's wearing a plaid button-down shirt that, like always, the collar fastened all the way to the top of a few locks of his blonde comb-over falling out of place. Jay Taylor grew up with my dad, and they have a long-standing tiff because of decades ago. Jay was one of the biggest bullies at Jacob Bailey High. It's not surprising, I guess, that his daughter turned out the same way, though with her own special brand of pity meanness. He looks from my dripping head to Travis's damp shirt. Would you care to explain why you're both soaked? Actually, let me try that again. I am going to channel his teenager self a little bit. Hollywood! Okay, got it. Would you care to explain why you're both soaked, Mr. Reese? Principal Taylor asks, narrowing his eyes and pursing his lips into a sharp point. He directs this question to Travis, as if he suspects it's all my fault and my friend would rat me out if asked the right question. He always does that with the Dennisons, except for my Aunt Danny, who could get along with even the angriest crowd of pitchfork-wielding townspeople. Science experiment gone wrong, says Travis, rescuing me, but it's just water. Principal Taylor nods slowly, his eyes flitting from Travis to me as if he's trying to look right through us. This guy needs to ease up. It's Halloween. For all he knows, the wet look could be our extremely sad and lame attempt at costumes. He clears his throat and continues down the hall. Let's go, I whisper to Travis, before Principal Taylor accuses us of being whatever the water equivalent of a pyromaniac is. I stay rooted in place as I watch Principal Taylor come across a group of girls giggling around one of the lockers. Get on home, he says to them. Oh wait, get on home, he says to them. We're locking up the building. He looks back over at Travis and me. You never know what wild things kids will do on Halloween night. His words make my stomach churn. Has Katie already told him about my family's Sanderson secret? Travis doesn't seem to notice, or at least ignores Principal Taylor so he won't think we care. Instead, Travis slings an arm around my shoulders and puts me towards the stairs. Don't trip, he says. So, I did get some Googling while you were in the bathroom to explain the static. It might storm tomorrow. It's probably a pressure thing, or humidity, or maybe there's an extra ions in the atmosphere. I roll my eyes. Sure, I say. Travis ruffles my wet hair. Let's get you home. We got a party to crash. And that's the end of that chapter. 5 points in chat, 5 feathers in chat right now if you can tell me where that last quote came from. No, it's not. Hocus Pocus. Oh, excuse me. Oh. One more chapter when we come right back in just a few moments. Finish it up. And yeah, and I got some other cool things to say. Thanks for sticking around. Either hang tight or fast forward to see that the be right back information goes away. And I'll see you in just a minute. In the meantime, ignore the sad. That's hashtag for the kids. See you soon. And we are back. Alright, let's see if I can do it right this time. Let's see. Squat! Did I do it right? I'm gonna watch. Let's see how well I did it. Alright, I'm looking at the screen. I'm watching the delay. And I think everything else. Make sure everything. Oh, I did it! That's really cool. Alright. Let's really get things settled and continue. And Grace didn't even miss a beat. She's like, sorry. I know this looks nuts. I'm just dabbing up some cocoa. Reminiscing maybe a little bit of cocoa. And some got on my pad. Anyway. And then Grace is like, oh, you back? Yeah, we're back. Alrighty, my girl. So, it's almost time for the party. Guys, I have a feeling that this next chapter is going to be quite the cliffhanger. I'm probably going to be wanting to do more. But no, alas. Let's be patient and resilient. Besides, chances are I'll be streaming again tomorrow. What if I were to make time to get like a good bit of the chapters done tomorrow for Black Friday? Distract you guys while you're doing your online shopping. Stay tuned, we'll figure it out. I'll squawk at you later about that. Alright, next chapter. Technically chapter 4, as it were. Or the 4th chapter, we'll just leave it at the 4th chapter. Broom service. Let's see what happens next. Oh, by the way, in case you guys are curious, I know in the past I've tried to read ahead the chapters before I would read them on stream. I haven't done that yet. The last chapter? Totally first time. This chapter? First time. Let's keep it going. Broom service. My house doesn't exactly scream Halloween party. I mean, our house isn't usually decorated for Halloween. But we're throwing a fairly large Halloween shindig in a few short hours, so I'm slightly concerned. It's also the only house on the block without a single pumpkin or decorative gourd on its porch. And you'd better believe there aren't any fake gravestones, which my mom finds tasteless since she had a soft spot for a zombie named Billy she apparently met 25 years ago. That, and she generally doesn't think it very funny to make jokes about the living dead. But tonight, we should probably have some kitschy knickknacks, I don't think I've ever seen this word. Some kitschy knickknacks out on the lawn, or at the very least a pumpkin. That is my life. Travis looks from the hedges to the festive house next door, which are probably 90% fake cobwebs, to its bales of haystacks high and its large painted pumpkins wearing witches' hats, to our pristine yard decorated only by a few stray yellow and orange leaves. So, remind me again why your parents are throwing a party to celebrate a holiday they absolutely abhor? He asks. I'll let you know when I figure it out, I mutter, walking down the lantern-lit brick path. My big white house with its dark shutters and 2 stories can certainly hold a good number of people. That's for sure. As I open the front door, I see there isn't even so much as an autumn wreath on it. Inside, Dad kneels in front of the fireplace with a pile of sticks and cut logs. He's wearing a green sweater and brown corduroys, and when he turns to wave hello, I see that he has a headband on with Hollywood in white block letters. Hollywood sign, says Travis with a nod. Classic. Thanks. My dad clicks his silver lighter and holds it to the firewood. Can I help? Travis asks, even though he already knows the answer. I've got it, says Dad on cue, but Allison might need help in the kitchen. When Nana and Grandpa retired to Palm Springs a few years ago, because they'd heard so many wonderful things about California from my dad, he was skeptical about moving into his in-laws' old house. He's since become very particular and territorial about certain things, including the way the fireplace wood is stacked. Maybe it's the result of getting older. Mom says Dad used to be much more laid back. Apparently, kids even nicknamed him Hollywood for a long time after he moved here from California. But I know he got more serious after their face-off with the Sanderson sisters. And even more so after my parents got married and I made my debut. When Mom was pregnant, Dad bought a safe to lock up the stub of the black flame candle. He even tried to get the Sanderson house condemned and bulldozed, but the city pushed back since it's a historic landmark. My parents are de facto caretakers, with possibly the only set of keys, even though they never go there. I'm surprised no one's made the Sanderson house into an escape room by now. Travis and I drop our bags by the front door and head into the kitchen, where we find Mom poring over case files, which is to say, we find Mom being Mom. Her white blazer is draped over the back of her chair, but she's wearing one of her favorite blouses, crimson with cascading ruffles at the front, rolled up at the elbows, which means it was a court day, and a long one at that. Her honey-colored hair is pulled back into a sleek bun, and her cherry red lipstick has started to fade because she chews her lips when she's thinking. Beside her, there is a platter of dark chocolate chip cookies, and half of them are iced to look like pumpkins. So there will be treats at this party. That's a relief. There are 2 tubes of icing near Mom, one orange and one green, but she's so engrossed in her case that she seems to have forgotten. Mom notices us even though her eyes are still on her files. The ones by the toaster are finished, she says, not realizing Travis has already honed in on the cookies and popped one into his mouth. Just testing them out, he says through a mouthful. They're not poisonous. I ignore him. Can we help with the decorations? I ask Mom. Then I turn to Travis and mumble, if we're having this party, excuse me. If we're having this party, we might as well try to make it good. I would love that, she says, circling something in her file. Give me 2 seconds. So we can see that Allison is a bit of a workaholic. And as we have already been told in this story, she has become a lawyer. And let me tell you, if I've had anything to tell you about a teacher's life and a nanny's life never turns off, I can only imagine. The same goes for lawyers too. Not to mention I live 2 doors down from one. Oh, he does not have an off button with his work sometimes. But sometimes I'm able to drag him back into the moment when I think he needs it. Other times in the neighborhood, I know that he has put his mind into his neighborhood and on his walking and just enjoying life. It's a balancing act for sure, but a tough one. You learn how to adapt, just like with any job, any role. Travis pours himself a glass of milk and hands me a cookie without waiting to see whether I actually want one. They're soft and still a little warm. It's my mom's special recipe. Travis stacks 3 on top of each other and eats them together like a cookie sandwich, in the most literal sense of the term. Mom caps her pen and looks up. Her face falls. Oh, Poppy, you're soaked. I pull up my still wet hair on one side. Yeah, I clear my throat. My dad's been so weird that if I tell her about any part of it, or my day's been so weird, my dad's been so weird. Sorry. My dad's been... I did it again! Oh my gosh, I gotta clip that. Alright. My day's been so weird that if I tell her about any part of it, she'll immediately think it has something to do with witches. The witches. I look desperately at Travis. Saline conductivity, he says, choking on a cookie crumbs. He takes a gulp of milk to wash it down. We were doing experiments to show them that the more salt you have in water, the more easily it conducts electricity. But then my lab partner got bored and threw the experimental fluid on everyone. That seems dramatic, says Mom. Travis shrugs. High school. Mom laughs. Fair. She pushes back from the kitchen table and stands up. That reminds me, it's a blood moon tonight, so I want you two to be more careful than usual, okay? That's what Travis's Kim experiment reminds you of? The blood moon tonight? I say before I can stop myself. Even though I told Travis my family's story years ago, it still sounds nuts every time Mom or Dad brings it up. What? Mom says flatly. Oh, wait, flatly. Okay, so more like, what? Mom says flatly. The blood moon could amplify magic, and I cut in. Mom! I glance at Travis, who is occupying himself with more cookies and milk, trying to stay out of it. I feel myself blushing. Why can't my family just be normal? Why do my parents have to believe something so out there and then get in fights over it? And in front of poor Travis. And then I cringe, remembering that I've already accidentally spilled my family Sanderson's secret to someone else. Katie Taylor. The worst possible person. Mom shrugs and selects the finished cookie. All I'm saying is that this nights like these that make me wish we knew where Winifred Sanderson's spellbook had gotten to. Mom. I know, she says, arranging the cookies on the tray. Some kids probably picked it up, but what if they still have it and tucked it into a trunk somewhere? What if someone finds it or reads from it? It's not safe to have that thing roaming around. Mom, it's not roaming around, I say. It's a book. I pause a second, my mind racing, and then everything clicks into place. That's why you're throwing this party? What? Mom spins around, taking a bite of her cookie, and leans back against the kitchen counter. She watches me thoughtfully as she chews. Travis has also paused to watch me. This whole party, I insist. Isn't it enough that you tried to get the Sanderson house condemned and locked up the black flame candle in a safe? Do you have to humiliate me and play Big Brother too? You're throwing this party to keep me and my friends from getting beamed up in the blood moon or whatever it is that you think could happen tonight. Travis's eyebrows rise in surprise. Silence falls in the kitchen. Okay, I didn't deserve that, Mom says. But you have a point. Yes, I'm trying to make sure as many teenagers as possible are otherwise occupied, including you and your friends, but I promise I never intended to humiliate you. I just want to throw a party and give you all your classmates toothaches while keeping anything bad from happening to you. Is that so terrible? I grunt. I promise they won't realize that your mother is a little superstitious, or that your father and I or your Aunt Danny believe in witches and zombies, okay? Sure, watch over me and my friends, but that still doesn't solve the problem that is Katie Taylor spilling to all the party guests that my family believes in ghost stories, if she hasn't already done so. Or have I already embarrassed you? Mom's voice is deliberately calm and even, but I can tell she's hurt by the way I insist on my distancing from this part of my family's history. She hasn't finished eating her cookie. She holds it by her side listlessly. I think about what I'd do if I were introducing Isabella to Mom, and Mom started going on about the blood moon, the werewolves, or whatever. The thought of that makes me even queasier. I resolve to keep Mom as far away from Isabella as humanly or non-humanly possible. I shrug. No, you don't embarrass me, I tell her. Besides, it's just Travis. Hey, Travis says through another mouthful of cookie. I ignore him. But you're afraid I'm going to say something weird tonight in front of all your classmates. I don't say anything, but she knows that she's right. Mom comes over and tucks a strand of damp hair behind my ear. I get it, Poppy. I do. I promise I won't say anything I won't have my mom say to me as a teenager. I bit my bottom lip. I know that despite their own hang-ups, my parents go out of their way to try to make sure my life is happy and relatively well-adjusted. Thank you, I say with reluctance. Mom breaks off her half of the cookie and hands it to me. Now, get some more sugar in you. I need volunteers for pumpkin glue. You didn't think this house was going to be the decorationless party, did you? Then she looks at Travis. And maybe save some cookies for our guests? That's something I didn't worry about at all. Even though we were walking in on the scene of the workaholic Allison, Mom, I know know that she is her parents' daughter after all. And if the first movie was any indication that she's been watching for years how to throw a party correctly in that same house, I knew she had this. Besides, they still have a couple of hours at this point. With a little bit of help, it's been my experience that anyone can throw a fantastic party, especially if people work well together. I have a feeling they're about to. Let's keep it moving. Later. Mom specializes in last-minute party decor, like Martha Stewart holding an egg timer, or hooked on an egg timer. Travis and I help by doing a clean sweep of the house, and by wrapping pumpkins in black patrol and patterned ribbons and arranging them in the entry hall for dining room until Mom's watchful eye. In the entire hall, we set up a Pinterest-worthy treat buffet table and dump 18 pounds of candy into a cauldron that, as far as I can tell, Nana and Grandpa stored in the garage to put out once a year expressly for this purpose. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Danny, you hit the jackpot. Well, I guess late is better than never. After the halls are made merry with fright, Travis and I scramble up the long staircase into my room, where we're supposed to wrap 100 lollipops with tissue paper and ribbon to make tiny ghost party favors. I draw my eyes a gaping mouth on the tissue paper with a felt pin, then look up to see Travis lounging in the beanbag chair in the far corner. We're both too big for it by now, but I wouldn't let Mom give it away. It's my BFF's favorite place to study and sketch stuff. On either side of him are framed photos I had taken and developed. On the left, chipped paint on the steps of the cemetery chapel with the pale curl of a spring vine climbing through the cracks. On the right, a pile of smooth, round stones with grains of sacks sticking onto their sides and a small crab standing on top, brandishing its claws like its supreme ruler of the world. That was a long sentence. Didn't know when it was going to end. Above it, there's a photo of the rustic balcony of the lighthouse, with its grimy windows glinting in the sun, and another showing a close-up of the sinewy bark of the redwoods in Muir Woods. Travis has a look of extreme concentration as he draws on his tissue paper. I like the way the light of the setting sun slants through the curtains and over his face. The shadows spilling down on one side are striking, and I fish out my camera again and snap a photo before he can move. He glances up. Is that from my fan club website? This shoe sets. I set my camera down on the bed. Hey, I'm sorry about my mom. He shrugs. Family, he says, happens to the best of us. But we both know that he's just being nice. His parents are deeply normal. He's the oldest of 4, including a 5-year-old sister whom he adores. We don't have any skeletons in the family closet as far as I know. The skeletons in our family closet can dance and sing, apparently. I finish another ghost pop and pick up my laptop to find references images for spooky ghost expressions. When I pull up the browser, I find it on Isabella's Instagram. Oh. For a second I was thinking it was Katie, not Isabella. We like this. It's a good thing Travis is better at math than he is at subtlety. There are a couple of selfies, a variety of bonfire shots from the summer, and pictures from various school clubs and service activities. She actually has a pretty good eye. And her reposts of baby sloths, fluffy wide-eyed puppies, delicious-looking pizza and tacos, and Jen Urso scoring big points. Oh, excuse me. Delicious-looking tacos, pizza and tacos, and Jen Urso score big points. Okay. This run-on sentence I'm not very used to. I come across a selfie that I'd forgotten she took. In it, she's sitting next to Travis and me on the bleachers. A cool September breeze tossing my hair together with her dark curls. Travis is trying to push us in front of me, and I'm laughing and shoving him back. Isabella is laughing too. She captured it No, hashtag no filter, hashtag no new friends. Which is ironic because we only started hanging out a week before that photo was taken. A sudden friendship that came out of left field, and that Travis and I accepted fairly quickly, despite my wondering why she chose us, of all people. You should just set it as your homepage, Travis jokes. Haha, very funny. Then I ask, hey, why do you think Isabella's been hanging out with us this school year? Travis holds out his latest ghost pop to me. His comic book skills are in full effect, and I feel bad for the people who will be getting my ghosts instead of his. Bouillance, he clarifies, in case I couldn't tell from his very accurate drawing. He adds it to his pile on the silver serving tray. I think she's been hanging out with us because we're both interesting people, and she's an interesting person. And I think maybe the two of you would be more interesting together if you ever get the guts to ask her out already. I sighed and rolled my eyes. I'm being serious, I say. I am too, he says. I saw you both making eyes at each other over lunch, even if you think I'm too blind to notice. I gape at him. Isabella Richards was not making eyes at me. Sure, whatever, he says, dashing off to another celebrity face and moving on to his next ghost. But you and I both know that Isabella Richards doesn't do anything that isn't on purpose. What do you mean? She's been shooting for the Ivy League since she was teething, he says. That girl has drive. She knows what she wants, and she knows there's a lot standing in her way. I like her even more now, even though she's not in the scene. Excuse me. She doesn't waste time on stuff if she can't help it, or if she can help it. He gives me a pointed look, which means she isn't wasting time on you. Or maybe she's not wasting time on you, I swipe back. Now it's time for him to roll his eyes. Not you two, he says. He's referring to the fact that when he moved here 6 years ago, half the school assumed the two of them would end up dating because they're both black. But what if he's right and Isabella was flirting with me? Or was flirting with me? You okay, Pops? Travis asks. I glance up and see that he looks concerned. Yeah, I say, looking at the damage I've done to my ghost, which is spotted all over with uneven circles. Polka ghost, I explain, as if it's totally on purpose. More like measles ghost, he says, and I stick out my tongue at him. What I was trying to say, Travis clarifies, is that I've had a lot of crushes, so I know what one looks like. And to me, it looks like Isabella wants to be more than friends with you. Speaking of which, I haven't heard much about your love life lately, I say. Don't try and change the subject, Travis says, raising an eyebrow. That might work on Miss Ahmed, but I know you way too well. We're talking about you and Isabella right now. Okay, I say. I won't admit it, but I secretly am glad he's not letting me sidetrack him. Getting his angle on the whole Isabella stitch, the best thing that happened to me all day. Listen, I don't want to pressure you, he continues, but just know that I'm here for you, and if you end up asking her out, and for some ridiculous reason she says no, thanks, I say, and I mean it. You cool? He asks. It's been a weird day for me, and he's worried. Super cool, I say. I'm thankful I have a friend like Travis. He gets me. Sometimes that's all we need. The doorbell rings and I startle. I really don't want to go to this party, tell him, as if he hadn't heard me whine about it for the past 3 weeks. It'll be good for you, he unfolds himself from the beanbag chair. It's time. We can't go down now, I protest. We'll be the sad people who got there too early. He laughs. Poppy, it's your house. You can't show up late to your own party. What do you tell people? Traffic on the stairs? Oh, I like that one. He grabs his duffel bag and unzips it. I know you're not big on costumes, he says, pulling out a black blob. But you'll be the only one down there without one. He hands me a piece of fabric and it blooms into a slightly crumpled witch's hat with a dramatic curl at the tip. The edge of the brim is bright red. Next, he hands me a small black mask with gold and ruby crystals. My mom made it for you, he says. You're an undercover witch, one of her top sellers. I rub my thumb over the intricate pattern of swirls curling out from the eyes of the mask. His mom runs a Etsy shop in her free time, and I know she's super busy around the holidays, so the gesture means even more. I love it, I say. It's gorgeous. But my mom would kill me if I wear this. A witch? Live a little, says Travis. She's throwing a party to celebrate 25 years without witches. Show her you're celebrating too. He takes the hat from me and stuffs it onto my head. It's beautiful. Ugh. He's gonna make a great dad one day. With all these dad jokes. Ha! Thanks. Look, we both know you had words with your mom earlier because you're feeling guilty about Katie overhearing you. Guess what? It happened. And unfortunately, time travel hasn't been discovered yet. So you're going to have to live with it. Own it. He hands me a stick that looks whittled by hand. Keep calm and carry a wand, he says, smirking. Or, try using it to turn Katie into a frog if things get really desperate. And don't worry, I got your back. He checks his phone and picks up his duffel bag and goes to change into his secret costume. I give an exaggerated sigh as he leaves the room. But when I turn to the mirror over my dresser, I'm smiling. Thank you, I call out. You're the best, Trav. I straighten the witch's hat on my head and narrow my eyes. Let's do this. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. What did I say? What did I say? What did I say? What did I say? I said, cliffhanger. Okay, the party hasn't started yet as I thought it would be. But, yeah. Let's see. We have finished the 4th chapter. Next chapter is going to be Basic Witch on page 258. And that chapter, it's a little long. Okay. Through 275. Okay. And then Calling All Spirits would be the next chapter. Oh, I think a lot's going to be happening in the next couple of chapters from what I'm seeing here. All right. Okay. So I gotta say, I'm appreciating how Poppy's perspective is, forward. There's some things that she says that I kind of wonder to myself as an adult. And I could feel a connection to her and understand her. Because, well, first of all, I remember being in high school and I remember its anxieties and stuff. And, there's the things that, Allison says things that I feel like I would want to say to my teenager. I know I don't think about it all that often. I'm thinking more about small child first and everything, but I never think much about what it's going to be like for them as a teenager. I don't know if Shady thinks more on that or not, but I know we're going in the right direction of watching, listening, and empathizing. That's good at least. And Allison did. She's making a good mom. And I can tell Poppy's a good kid. Something stressful is obviously about to happen, of course. But before that happens, it's good to know that you've got a friend that really looks you in the eye and says, I got you. Alright? That's what Travis says to her. Oh, what I was saying earlier about the whole thing about how when Travis had first come to school, and what was it? They thought Travis and Isabella were going to be a thing because they're both black. I found that interesting. Because living here in Atlanta, and my city more specifically in the high school I went to, everybody thought the same thing. Yeah. And I think that's pretty typical. You go to a new environment and you start to identify first with people that look and or act like you, or you gravitate towards the familiar and the positive first, or you try to anyway. And yeah, and I think that's a good starting point to kind of get a lay of the land and intermingle with other people, different backgrounds, and ethnicities, and beliefs, cultures, language. So it starts there with familiar before you get into the unfamiliar. And I think that applies to life in general. Good lesson, if you ask me. Good perspective. I should know, I have it. Anyway, I've been thinking while reading the book. I think I'm going to stop this session of the stream, rename it, and I'm going to come back in a little bit, pick up stream again, start up Pokemon Scarlet. I just feel like I need a little bit of a break, and I don't, whoops, poor girl, and I don't want to, have it go on and on. It's almost looking at an hour and a half with the reading itself and dedication for Jason David Frank. So I will come back and stream in a little bit. Maybe take a 15-20 minute break or so, I think, and then come back and play some Pokemon Violet. That's my goal. Alright, until then, see you next time. Soon, today, in the stream. Happy Thanksgiving. I'll see you soon. Bye 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 bye. Stick around as I host somebody really cool. As soon as I get it going and try to stop the
I don't feel like waking up.